Everything you want already exists in the unseen. Your desire is not a request for something to come into existence. It is a revelation of what is already yours. The moment an idea is born within you, the fulfillment of that idea has been set into motion. You wouldn't feel the desire unless the version of you who already has it is calling you forward. You have been told that manifestation takes time, that success requires long struggles, that prayers remain unanswered for reasons unknown. But today you are rewriting the rules. You are reclaiming your divine authority. You are learning the fastest way to your desires, a method so powerful that in 3 days everything can shift. 3 days is not a countdown. It is not a waiting period. 3 days is a state of assumption held without contradiction. It is the unwavering inner knowing that what you have imagined has already happened. Day 1, you decide. You choose the end result. You stop asking if it will happen and begin living from the truth that it already has. You see the world from the eyes of the person who has succeeded. You walk differently, you speak differently, you feel differently. You claim your desire as reality, not fantasy. Day 2, you persist. Doubts may knock, old stories may rise, but you stay loyal to your chosen end. You do not argue with appearances. You do not negotiate with fear. You do not look to the outer world for confirmation. You remain in the inner world, the world that shapes truth. You feed the feeling of victory until it becomes effortless. Day 3, you rest, not a passive rest, but a victorious one. You allow the unseen power to do what you have already done internally. You walk through the day knowing the bridge of events is unfolding. You celebrate before the evidence. You trust that what you felt real is real, and the physical must follow. This 3-day process is not magic, it is law. You do not manifest by hoping, you manifest by assuming. Every desire requires only one thing, the feeling of having it now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled and you hold it, the world must rearrange itself. Doors open, people show up, situations shift. What is yours rushes toward you because you have called it with conviction. You are not waiting on your desire is waiting on you. So decide the life you choose to experience. Imagine the end as though it is your present. Feel the satisfaction deeply. Persist for 3 days with absolute inner allegiance, and then watch how fast reality bends. The fastest way to your desires is to already be the version of you who has them. Speak the inner truth. It is already done. It is already mine. I am living it now. 3 days of unwavering assumption. That is all it takes. Your manifestation is not in the future, it is here and now. It is time for you to claim it. Your imagination is the workshop of destiny. What you accept as true becomes your reality. Every outcome you have ever experienced began first as a thought, a belief, an inner assumption. Long before the world around you rearranged itself, something within you shifted. Imagination is not something childish or trivial. It is the most powerful creative force you possess. It is the silent architect behind the scenes of your life, constructing experiences that match the truth you hold within yourself. Every time you imagine something with feeling, you are giving life to a new possibility. You are allowing the invisible to take shape even before it becomes visible. The mistake is believing that imagination is separate from real life, when in truth, imagination is the origin of everything that becomes real. The chair you sit on, the phone you use, the home you live in, all were once ideas in someone's mind. They had no physical form until imagination gave them one. The same principle applies to your relationships, your finances, your health, and your future. When you accept an idea as true, whether it is empowering or limiting, you activate a law that ensures it must express itself. The mind does not judge what you give it. It does not filter between what you want and what you fear. It simply creates based on what you assume to be real. This is why your inner dialogue matters. This is why your private visions shape your public life. You have been imagining your life into existence without even realizing it. Every doubt you've repeated, every fear you've entertained, every limitation you've accepted, those were seeds you planted, and life, being fertile soil, allowed them to grow. But just as easily, you can plant new seeds. You can imagine success instead of struggle, love instead of loneliness, abundance instead of lack. The moment you accept these new ideas as your truth, everything begins to shift. Imagination does not wait for permission. It does not check the current circumstances to see if change is possible. It knows it is the source of change. When you deliberately choose the images you dwell on, you take the steering wheel of your destiny. You overrule appearances and replace them with intention. You stop being a victim of life and become the creator of life. The secret is to imagine and feel the end result as though it is happening right now. When imagination and emotion join together, they produce a force so strong the universe has no choice but to respond. Your reality rearranges itself to match the new truth you hold within. People, opportunities, and events you could never have predicted begin to appear. Things that once seemed impossible suddenly become inevitable. The world will always mirror the assumptions you persist in. If you want to change the reflection, you must first change what you are imagining. Believe in the unseen. Trust the power that breathes life into your dreams. Your imagination is the workshop of destiny, and you are the master builder. The desire fulfilled begins with a decision. Assume the end and live from it, not toward it. The moment you choose the outcome in your mind, the moment you say, "This is already mine," everything in your reality begins shifting to align with that assumption. You do not wait for signs, evidence, or permission from the outside world. You give yourself permission through your decision. You claim the end as your truth before the world has the chance to show it to you. Most people live toward their desires. They imagine themselves on the way, still lacking, still hoping, still waiting. They place their dreams in the distance, treating them as goals they must earn through struggle and time. But what they don't realize is that by living toward the desire, they reinforce the belief that they don't have it yet. And as long as the belief of not yet remains dominant, the desire remains distant. True manifestation flips this logic completely. You live from the end, as though you already are the one who has the success, the love, the abundance. You shift your identity first. You occupy the state of the fulfilled desire so fully that there is no room for doubt. You make the decision so deeply that the external world must follow. This decision is not about forcing or pretending. It is a quiet certainty. an inner knowing. You adopt the perspective and feelings of the version of you who already possesses what you want. If you desire wealth, you don't walk as someone striving for abundance, you walk as someone who is financially secure. If you desire love, you don't think like someone waiting to be chosen. You think like someone already adored. If you desire healing, you don't identify with illness, you identify with wholeness. Life responds to identity. The universe reflects back who you believe yourself to be. When you assume the end, you are changing your self-concept. You are saying, this is who I am now, and the world must reorganize to mirror that version of you. This is why the decision is everything. In that single moment of inner commitment, not hesitation, not half belief, you set manifestation into motion. The decision itself is the beginning of fulfillment. You do not chase outcomes, you attract them through alignment. You no longer need to check, worry, or doubt because your assumption has already secured the result. Living from the end is the ultimate expression of faith. When you decide the outcome and hold that state with persistence, you are declaring that your inner reality is more powerful than appearances. And soon, appearances shift to match your declaration. Every desire you hold is waiting for one thing, for you to decide that the end is already achieved. Once that decision is made, every step, every coincidence, every encounter becomes part of the bridge leading you to the physical expression of what you already claimed. You are not journeying toward your dreams, you are living from them. The decision is the beginning, and the end is guaranteed. A desire fulfilled begins with a decision. Assume the end and live from it, not toward it. Every transformation starts the moment you choose to accept the final outcome as already done. This decision is not simply an intellectual choice. It is an inner shift in identity. It is the moment you stop being the person who wants and become the person who has. When you decide with conviction that your desire is reality, your inner world aligns with the fulfilled state, and your outer world must follow that alignment. Most people try to manifest from a place of longing. They focus on what they don't have, hoping that eventually they will earn it or attract it. But the more they reinforce the idea that their desire is in the future, the more the future keeps stretching ahead of them. Desire, when paired with waiting, becomes distance, and distance keeps the dream out of reach. The secret is to eliminate the gap between you and what you want. You close that gap by assuming the end as present now. This assumption shifts everything: your thoughts, your tone, your decisions, your energy. You no longer think like someone lacking, because lack is not part of your identity anymore. You speak as the person who has the opportunity, the love, the wealth, the health, the success already in hand. You don't ask if it will happen, you operate with the knowing that it has happened in the unseen and is unfolding visibly. Living from the end means walking through life with the inner satisfaction of the fulfilled desire. You imagine the outcome so vividly and consistently that your inner experience becomes richer and more real than current circumstances. And because the outer world is only a reflection of the inner state you persist in, it must eventually show you the result you have assumed. This is not imagination as escape, this is imagination as creation. When you hold a state of fulfillment with unwavering loyalty, you are planting the seed of your desire in the soil of consciousness. And once planted, the harvest is guaranteed. Doubts may arise, old beliefs may try to pull you backward, but the decision to assume the end gives you a new emotional home. You no longer entertain anything that contradicts your chosen reality. Persistence in assumption is the key. Not force, but certainty. Not struggle, but faith. Every time you affirm the end in your heart and feel its truth, you strengthen the foundation of your manifestation. Soon opportunities appear that you could never have predicted. People show up who are part of your unfolding story. The path forms beneath your feet as you walk in the identity of the one who has already won. The decision is the moment your life changes. The desire becomes real the instant you claim it. You don't wait for the world to prove it. Your assumption itself is the proof. So choose the end boldly. Live from the fulfilled state with joy. Hold the feeling that the victory is already yours. Because once you make that decision, reality has no choice but to obey. 3 days is not about time. It's about unwavering conviction. Time is not what manifests your desire. Belief does. The number of days is symbolic of a state of mind that remains unchanged and loyal to its vision. When you commit to the outcome with your whole being, when your assumption remains firm and unshaken, manifestation can occur swiftly. 3 days represents the period in which you completely detach from doubt and fully embrace the reality of your desired result. Many people think manifestation requires waiting for signs, waiting for progress, waiting for the world to align. But waiting implies uncertainty. It implies that the desire is not yet here, that the fulfillment is still far away. In truth, manifestation unfolds the instant you decide that what you have imagined is already yours. The 3 days simply symbolize a short season of inner consistency where you refuse to entertain anything contradictory to your assumption. Conviction is the power behind creation. It is the mental and emotional stance that says, "This is done. I have it now." Once you claim that inner truth, you hold it like a precious secret, not seeking validation from the outside, not scanning for evidence. Instead, you rest in a calm expectancy. You trust the unseen process. Your conviction is the seed, and faith is the soil that protects its growth. During those symbolic 3 days, your inner world becomes immovable. Old fears may whisper, circumstances may appear unchanged, but you remain steadfast. You remind yourself that the outer world is only a delayed reflection of what you have already accepted within. You stop surrendering to appearances and instead insist on the reality of your desire through feeling. The conviction becomes so natural that it no longer feels like imagination, it feels like truth. When conviction deepens, everything shifts. You notice your self-talk is different. The tone of your thoughts rises. Your behavior aligns with success, love, health, or abundance, whatever it is you have claimed. You no longer ask how long, because you are already living the result internally. Time becomes irrelevant. The creation is already complete, and the physical world simply follows the script you've written in consciousness. The reason manifestation can occur rapidly, within days, hours, or moments, is because the universe responds instantly to inner certainty. There is no resistance when the mind is fully unified with belief. The bridge of events forms quickly because there is nothing opposing the fulfillment. What slows manifestation is not the desire, it is the doubt that competes with it. 3 days is the period of unwavering inner fixation, where you no longer oscillate between belief and disbelief. You choose the end, and you remain in that chosen state. It is the season where the old self dissolves and the new self emerges fully formed. So understand this: 3 days is not a countdown on a calendar. It is a demonstration of mental discipline, emotional loyalty, and spiritual certainty. It is the time it takes for you to stop questioning and start knowing. And once you know, truly know, manifestation becomes inevitable. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible idea and the visible world. It is not enough to merely think about what you want. Thought alone is like a seed that has not yet touched the soil. It carries potential, but without emotional nourishment, it cannot grow or bear fruit. Feeling gives life to thought. Feeling gives shape to the unseen. Feeling is what transforms a simple desire into a living reality. Every moment you experience a desire, the mind may paint a picture of what you want, but it is the feeling, the inner sensation of having it, that begins the manifestation process. When your heart engages with your imagination, the idea becomes more than a mental construct. It becomes a state of consciousness that you embody. The universe responds to that state, not to idle wishing. Feeling is the language creation understands. If you imagine success but feel fear, doubt, or unworthiness, the energy you emit is not aligned with success. You are emotionally tied to the lack of the desire rather than the fulfillment of it. This is why people sometimes say they are manifesting but see no results. They are visualizing the dream while emotionally living the opposite. The world reflects what you feel to be true, not what you hope to be true. Feeling is the evidence of your assumption. It is the inner confirmation that your desire is already yours. When you feel the joy of achievement before the achievement arrives, when you feel the relief of answered prayers before anything changes, when you feel the love of the relationship before the person enters your life, you are signaling to reality that fulfillment is present now, and reality must rise to mirror that presence. Your feelings imprint the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind controls your habits, decisions, perception, and opportunities. When you consistently feel aligned with your desire, you naturally begin to think, act, and respond as the version of you who already has it. Life then organizes itself to support that identity. People show up, circumstances shift, solutions appear, synchronicities unfold. Feeling is the catalyst that activates these changes. The clearer and stronger the feeling, the faster the bridge forms between the invisible and the visible. It doesn't require force or strain. True feeling is effortless. It is the quiet knowing, the soft certainty, the warm inner satisfaction that tells you the outcome is secured. The body relaxes. The mind becomes peaceful. You no longer question if or when. You simply rest in the fulfilled state. So when you imagine your desire, let your heart participate fully. Let your emotions rise into the experience. Feel the end result as if it surrounds you now. Let the joy, gratitude, and confidence fill your imagination with life. For every reality you have ever lived began as a feeling first. Feeling is not just part of the manifestation process. It is the bridge that carries your desire from the unseen realm into the physical world. When the feeling of having becomes stronger than the feeling of wanting, the manifestation is complete. Persist in the inner state until the outer world bends to match it. The reality you experience is a delayed reflection of the assumptions you hold within. It does not instantly show you what you believe. It reveals what you persist in. One moment of imagining is powerful, but persistence is what transforms imagination into form. The world around you may take time to adjust, not because the desire is distant, but because old beliefs and previous assumptions are still playing themselves out. Your job is not to chase change outwardly, but to remain loyal to the inner transformation until it becomes the only truth you recognize. Persistence is the quiet courage of manifestation. It is choosing your inner reality again and again, even when physical evidence has not yet appeared. It is refusing to give attention to contradictions. It is staying faithful to the vision when circumstances seem to argue otherwise. The outer world is only a mirror, and a mirror does not change until the original changes. When you decide that your inner state is the real world, the only world that matters, then the physical realm must follow your lead. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you strengthen the foundation of your new reality. You are imprinting that truth deeper into the subconscious, anchoring it as your identity. And once the subconscious accepts a new identity, the visible world cannot resist reflecting it. Opportunities shift. People respond differently. Paths open that were once invisible. What looked like delay suddenly reveals itself as divine timing. Persistence does not mean effort or struggle. It means conscious assumption. It means aligning your inner conversations, reactions, and emotions with your chosen end. Instead of worrying, you affirm. Instead of fearing, you assume. Instead of observing the old, you stay rooted in the new. You do not allow temporary appearances to convince you that nothing is happening, because you know everything is happening. Beneath the surface, there will be moments where doubt tries to creep in, telling you that nothing is changing. But doubt is only a sign that the old story is losing its power. When you refuse to feed it, it fades. The inner state becomes dominant, and once dominant, it must be expressed. The outer world has no will of its own. It is obedient to the impressions you persistently hold. This is the law of creation. To persist is to declare, what I want is already mine, and I will not abandon this truth. You remain unmoved in your knowing. You act, think, and feel as the person who has already received. Persistence turns imagination into inevitability. It transforms desire into destiny. So hold your vision firmly. Return to the fulfilled state every time your attention drifts. Trust the unseen movement. Keep your heart anchored in the end result. When you persist long enough, the physical world has no choice but to surrender to the power of your assumption. Reality will bend because you never did. Every event you experience is an echo of what you once assumed. Change the assumption and you change the echo. Life is always reflecting you back to yourself. The situations, people, and outcomes you encounter are not random accidents or twists of fate. They are the mirrored expressions of the beliefs you have accepted as true over time. The inner world speaks first, and the outer world responds. What you assume in the quietness of your mind reverberates into the noise of your daily existence. Your assumptions are the silent scripts that your life follows. They shape your expectations, and those expectations shape your reality. If deep down you believe that things always work out for others but not for you, Life will present experiences that support that belief. If you assume love is difficult, relationships will reflect struggle. If you assume abundance is scarce, opportunities will seem limited. These outcomes are not punishments, they are mirrors. They show you the assumptions you have planted within. But the beauty of this truth is that you can rewrite the script at any moment. You do not have to continue living out old stories or repeating familiar patterns. When you change your assumption, you shift the foundation that reality builds upon. A new inner belief creates a new outer response. Life cannot continue echoing the same experiences when the source of those experiences has transformed. Every event is simply the result of past assumptions expressed on a delay. If you do not like the current echo, don't fight the world, change the inner sound. Stop trying to rearrange external circumstances through effort and force. Instead, go to the origin, the mind. Align your thoughts and feelings with the version of yourself who already lives the life you want. Assume that you are deserving. Assume that you are chosen. Assume that you are supported. Assume that things come easily to you. These become new seeds that life must nurture into physical form. Shifting assumptions is not about convincing the world, it's about convincing yourself. When you truly adopt a new inner stance and persist in it, your reality will eventually reveal that shift. People may treat you differently, unexpected opportunities may arise, solutions become visible. What was once blocked suddenly opens. The echo changes because the original thought has changed. This process requires patience and loyalty to the new assumption. The old echo may continue for a short while because previous beliefs are still dissolving, but instead of reacting to what you see, respond from what you have chosen to believe. Your inner state must remain stronger than the outer reflection. When it does, the world will have no choice but to catch up. Your life is not shaped by chance, it is shaped by assumption. The loudest echo in your reality is the result of the quietest belief in your heart. Change that belief and your entire world shifts. Every new assumption is a new destiny. Every new state of mind is a new path unfolding. You are the source, and life is the echo. Your life changes the moment you decide to believe in the reality of your desire more than the illusion of delay. When you imagine with conviction, feel with certainty, and persist with unwavering faith, you activate the fastest route to manifestation. You are not waiting on the world is waiting on you. Every shift begins within. Every miracle starts as an assumption you dare to hold. Use the end. Live from the fulfilled state. Trust the bridge of events. Your desire is already accomplished in the unseen, and soon the visible world will confirm what you have claimed. The power is in you. The authority is in you. Your future is not ahead, it is now. Thank you for listening. There comes a time in every life when the invisible begins to make itself known. When the desires you once whispered in silence begin to echo into reality. That time, for you, is now. Something big is moving toward you. The shift is not coming. The shift is here. Everything you have imagined, everything you have prayed for, everything you have carried in the quiet chambers of your heart has already taken form in the unseen. You are not waiting for your blessing. Your blessing is waiting for you to recognize its arrival. Life has been rearranging itself behind the curtain. Doors that were once sealed are being unlocked. The path that looked uncertain is clearing. The impossible is becoming inevitable. Why? Because you dared to desire. Because you dared to imagine a life higher than the one you could currently see. Because you said yes in your spirit, even when your circumstances said no. The outer world may still reflect the old version of you, the version who doubted, who feared, who believed themselves stuck. But that reflection is fading. A new identity has formed within you, and the world must respond to that identity. It has no choice. It is law. You are no longer who you once were. You no longer think the same thought. You no longer accept the same limits. You have shifted from hoping to knowing, from waiting to living, from yearning to receiving. Feel the change within you, that gentle but undeniable confidence rising, that inner voice that quietly declares, "It's already mine." That is the sign, that is the evidence, that is the proof of the transformation underway. Do not concern yourself with how or when. The how is never your job. The when is already in motion. The moment you assume the feeling of fulfillment, the universe began its march toward manifestation. Circumstances are aligning, people are being positioned, opportunities are forming that you cannot yet see, but soon you will. Soon you will walk into the very life you once only dared to picture. Soon, what was once a dream will become your daily reality. Soon you will look back and say, everything was shifting the entire time. I just needed eyes to see it. So stand tall, hold the feeling, act from the end, not toward it. Because something big is moving toward you. A breakthrough, a blessing, a chapter so beautiful it will erase the memory of the struggle it took to reach it. The shift is here. Welcome it. Believe it. Live it. It may seem your inner assumption is the gravitational force pulling your desires closer. It is not the effort, not the struggle, not the hours spent trying to make something happen that change your life. It is what you quietly accept as true within. Every assumption is like an unseen magnet, shaping the direction of your experiences, drawing to you the circumstances that match what you believe about yourself and your world. You are not consciously aware of how powerful your inner conclusions are, because they work in silence, beyond rational thought, beyond physical action. Yet they move mountains, shift realities, orchestrate events with exquisite precision. If you assume that abundance belongs in your life, life will find 1,000 ways to bring abundance to you. If you assume that love is your nature and your right, relationships will begin to reflect that truth. If you assume success, confidence, growth, transformation, all of these forces rush toward you like iron filings pulled to a magnet. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you assume. Desire without assumption is like a prayer without faith. It lacks the inner conviction that bridges the invisible to the visible. Assumption is the inner architect. It builds the blueprint long before you see the structure. You may look around and see delays, obstacles, and conditions that argue against your dream. But everything you see right now is only the past in physical form, a reflection of yesterday's assumptions. Change the assumption, and the reflection must follow. It may take time for the world to catch up, but it must obey. There is no outer authority greater than the inner state you choose to occupy. Your mind is not waiting for permission from reality. Reality is waiting for instruction from your mind. When you shift your assumption, you shift the gravitational pull of your life. Suddenly, opportunities show up that were never there before. People appear who carry answers you've needed. Ideas flow that used to feel blocked. All because the magnet of your identity changed direction. Assume the feeling of already having your desire. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. When you do, something extraordinary happens. The desire stops being a thing out there trying to reach you and becomes something already possessed within you. The distance collapses. The waiting dissolves. The path reveals itself. You are no longer chasing what you want. You are aligning with what already belongs to you. You're always assuming something. The question is whether you are assuming limitation or possibility, fear or faith, lack or abundance. Your assumption is the silent choice you make every day. And today, you can choose a new outcome by choosing a new belief. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you assume to be true. Become the person who already has what you desire. Think like them, feel like them, live like them in imagination. Then watch as life moves to meet the version of you that you have already become. What you accept as true in imagination becomes your lived experience. Every outcome you have ever encountered began first as a thought, a belief, a picture within your inner world. Imagination is not a playground for fantasy, it is the workshop of creation. What you rehearse internally, you invite externally. When a thought becomes accepted as truth, when it is no longer a wish, but a certainty within, it begins to shape the very fabric of your reality. Your imagination builds the blueprint. Life follows the blueprint. When you vividly embody a state, wealth, love, healing, confidence, success, you are not pretending, you are establishing the cause. The world you see is only the effect. The moment you feel the truth of what you imagine, the universe starts shifting in alignment with that inner acceptance. People will show up, doors will open, opportunities will emerge that match the picture you've been holding in your mind. Most people wait for the environment to give them permission to believe. They wait for evidence before they accept their dream as real. But imagination is the evidence before the evidence. It is the preview of your future. If you require proof before belief, you delay the very proof you desire. The unseen must be believed before it can be seen. That is the law. When you imagine something consistently and emotionally, your subconscious mind takes it as fact. It does not distinguish between what is physically present and what is vividly felt. Whatever you mentally accept instructs your subconscious to reorder your life accordingly. You will move differently, you will speak differently, you will expect differently, and those internal shifts alter your path and your outcomes. If you imagine failure, you align with experiences that reinforce that assumption. If you imagine success with conviction, everything in your life begins to respond to that belief. Your imagination is the steering wheel of destiny. Turn it in the direction of your desire, and your life must follow. Turn it toward fear, and fear becomes the reality you walk into. Think of the great innovators, artists, and leaders throughout history. They lived in worlds that didn't yet exist. They saw what others could not see. They accepted their vision as true long before anyone else believed in it. And because they embraced that truth within, the world eventually had no choice but to catch up. This is not blind daydreaming, it is intentional creation. To imagine with belief is to plant the seed. To persist in that belief is to water it. And to refuse contradiction is to protect its growth. Eventually, the invisible becomes visible. Your imagination is your greatest asset. Honor it. Use it deliberately. Do not limit it to replaying your past. Let it construct your future. Accept the highest version of yourself as true. Live from the state of already having what you desire. Feel the fulfillment before the form. When you do, the form must appear. Your life expands or contracts to the boundaries of your imagination. Dare to imagine the extraordinary and accept it as real, and the extraordinary will arrive. The shift begins not with circumstances changing, but with you changing your perception. Everything in the outer world is a mirror reflecting the inner world. If you wait for conditions to improve before you choose a new belief, you remain bound to the very limitations you want to escape. Change does not come from struggle or external rearrangement. It comes from a subtle but powerful internal decision to see differently, to interpret differently, to choose a new meaning. Every situation you face is neutral until you assign it value. Two people can stand in the same place, look at the same set of facts, and walk away with two completely different realities. One sees possibility, the other sees defeat. The difference is not the circumstance, the difference is perception. Your perception is the lens through which you view life, and that lens determines the world you experience. When the lens is colored by fear, doubt, or past disappointment, everything appears constrained and uncertain. But when the lens is colored by belief, gratitude, and expectancy, the same world becomes full of opportunity and alignment. Perception functions like a filter. It selects what you notice, where you focus, and how you respond. If you believe life is against you, you will find evidence to support that story. If you believe life is moving in your favor, you will begin noticing signs, blessings, and support that were always there but unseen. Nothing changed outside, the shift happened within. There is a powerful truth. Your mind cannot accept a new reality while clinging to the old one. If you keep analyzing the present from the perspective of past limitations, you keep recreating the same outcome. The moment you choose a new perception, you create a new point of attraction. Suddenly, new ideas surface, new energy flows, and new actions feel natural. Your world has not changed yet, but because you have changed, your world must follow. Think of a radio. The music you hear depends entirely on the frequency you tune into. The songs already exist on countless frequencies around you, but you only experience the one you choose. Life works in the same way. When you shift your perception, you shift your frequency, and you begin to experience a reality that was already waiting for you. A transformation in perception is not denial. It is not pretending challenges don't exist. It is choosing to see beyond the temporary illusion of limitation and acknowledging that something greater is unfolding. It is choosing to trust the unseen more than the visible. It is choosing to stand in the identity of who you are becoming rather than who you have been. When you change the way you look at your life changes its shape. When you assume your desires are within reach, they begin to reach for you. The world rearranges, not because it decided to, but because you did. The shift you are waiting for is already here. It is taking place inside you, in your perception, in the way you choose to interpret this moment. Improve the inner vision, and the outer view will transform accordingly. Your future is a memory in advance. Walk in it boldly. The moment you picture a desire as already fulfilled, you pull the future into the present. You are not merely dreaming, you are remembering what is destined to unfold. When you hold a vision clearly enough, consistently enough, and confidently enough, it becomes a mental memory of a reality that has not yet entered time. You are rehearsing what you will later live. This is the power of imagination when combined with faith. Most people think the future is uncertain, that it is shaped by chance, luck, or external forces. But the truth is that the future is shaped by the state you assume now. If you assume failure, you prepare the path for it. If you assume greatness, the world begins aligning with that greatness. Every fulfilled dream was once a future memory someone dared to believe in without evidence. They felt ownership of it before anyone else could see reason to expect it. Walk as if your future is already known. Speak as if everything you have asked for is already yours. Make decisions from the identity of the person you are becoming, not the person you have been. When you shift your behavior to match the end result, you announce to life, "I am ready," and life responds accordingly. You do not move toward your future moves toward you the moment you accept it as real. Your inner conviction becomes a magnet that draws the right people, possibilities, and synchronicities into your path. What looks like coincidence is the universe revealing the memory you planted within. Every aligned step you take is a reminder that the future you desire is not distant. It is unfolding. Walking boldly is a declaration of belief. It is a refusal to bow to temporary circumstances. The world may still reflect the old story, but you boldly inhabit the new one. You do not wait for permission to believe. You do not wait for validation to trust. You decide, you assume, you embody. This is how futures become facts. A memory does not require effort to recall. It simply exists, familiar, unquestionable, natural. When your desired future feels this real inside you, doubt loses its grip. You no longer ask if it will happen. The only question that remains is when. But even the when cannot disturb you, because you understand that time is simply the unfolding of what has already been accepted in imagination. Let your future be the story you remember every day, not the limitations you have lived before. Close your eyes and revisit the end. The success, the love, the breakthrough, the joy, the transformation. See it, feel it, claim it. Then walk into the day as the version of you who already knows the ending. Your future is not a random possibility. It is a certainty already written in the invisible. It is a memory waiting to be recognized. Live with the confidence of someone who has already arrived. Walk boldly, and the world will rise to meet the truth you carry within. The unseen is more real than the visible. Trust its movement. Everything tangible in your life today began as something invisible. an idea, a vision, a whisper of desire within the imagination. Before anything takes form, it must first exist in the realm that cannot be measured or touched. The invisible is the birthplace of the visible. What you experience in the physical world is simply the final stage of creation, the outer shell of a truth that was alive long before it appeared. Yet many people trust only what their eyes can see. They allow their faith to be governed by current conditions, forgetting that conditions are delayed reflections of past beliefs. By the time something appears, the inner creation has already occurred. The visible is always late, the unseen is always first. If you allow the present facts to dictate your future, you remain stuck in an endless loop of repeating the past. But if you trust the unseen, shifts happening within, your identity, your assumptions, your emotional alignment, you step into the realm where miracles are born. The unseen movement is subtle. You cannot always measure progress by external results. Sometimes nothing appears to be happening, yet everything is happening. The roots grow before the fruit appears. The seed breaks open long before the plant emerges. Transformation is silent long before it becomes visible. Do not mistake silence for stagnation. Do not confuse stillness with absence. Life is organizing details in the background, aligning people, opportunities, and timing to match the reality you have chosen inside. When you trust the unseen, you release the need to constantly check for proof. You stop questioning whether your desire is on its way and begin knowing that it is. You live in the confidence that the new reality is unfolding, even when your senses cannot yet detect it. This inner certainty becomes the very force that accelerates manifestation. Faith speeds up what doubt slows down. The invisible realm is responsive. It mirrors your state of being. When you assume that your blessing is here, the unseen moves with precision to reflect that truth. When you assume lack or fear, the unseen responds just as faithfully. It is always listening, always shaping, always translating your inner world into outer experience. Think of wind. You cannot see it, yet you see its effects. You trust its movement without needing to witness its form. The unseen forces of your life operate the same way. They move in response not to what you hope for, but to what you believe. They respond not to your wishes, but to your acceptance of already having the thing you desire. So trust what you feel rising within you, the quiet conviction, the shift in perspective, the new belief taking root. Those inner changes are the evidence that the invisible is already working in your favor. Live from the assurance that the unseen reality is the true reality. Continue to walk, not by sight, but by inner knowing. The unseen knows exactly where you are and where you are going. It is guiding you, shaping you, preparing you for the very experiences you have dared to imagine. Trust its movement, because soon the invisible will become undeniable. Something big is already on its way because you have already received it within. The moment a desire is accepted internally, the journey toward its physical expression has begun. You may not see anything shifting around you yet, but the shift has already taken place in the realm where creation begins. Inside your consciousness, what you feel as a quiet yes in your spirit, what you embrace as already yours in imagination, becomes the signal that sets universal movement into motion. Receiving within does not mean wishing or hoping. It means claiming. It means possessing the end result emotionally before it has taken form externally. When you feel the joy, the relief, the confidence, or the gratitude of having your desire now, you enter alignment with the version of reality where it is already true. This alignment becomes a magnet that draws the outer world into harmony with your inner conviction. People often believe that manifestation starts when something appears, but that is the final stage. By the time your blessing arrives, countless invisible arrangements have already been made. The universe has been shifting circumstances, adjusting timelines, and guiding you toward encounters and opportunities that match what you have accepted within yourself. You are not waiting for the desire. The desire is waiting for you to hold firmly to its reality. When you receive internally, you are no longer a seeker. You become a receiver. You move differently. You speak differently. You expect differently. You stop asking, when will it come, and begin affirming, it is done. This shift changes everything. Doubt loses its influence. Fear dissolves. Impatience settles. And you begin walking as one who already knows the outcome. Something big is not coming from the outside in, it is unfolding from the inside out. Your internal acceptance is the cause, and the world is the effect. As long as you continue to nurture the feeling of fulfillment, the physical manifestation must appear. It is law. Your job is not to force the how or pressure the timeline. Your job is to remain faithful to the inner knowing that what is yours cannot be lost, delayed, or denied. There may still be moments where the world looks unchanged, where old conditions try to convince you nothing is happening. But remember, appearances are the past trying to hold on. Do not let them sway you. The old reality is dissolving. A new one has been born within you, and soon the outer world will have no choice but to mirror it. When you feel something big is coming, that feeling is not random. It is recognition. It is your intuition touching a future that is already yours. It is your higher self whispering that you are aligned with a powerful unfolding, that the seeds you planted in imagination are breaking through the surface. Stand firm in the knowing, celebrate before the evidence appears, honor the feeling of arrival within. For the moment you receive your desire internally, the universe begins delivering it externally, and nothing can stop what has already been claimed. Every shift begins inside you. Every breakthrough first appears in the unseen. What you assume, what you accept, what you embrace as true in the silence of your imagination becomes a reality you walk into. You are drawing your future to you with every thought you persist in, every belief you choose, every feeling you allow to dominate your inner state. Something big is already moving toward you, not because of luck or chance, but because you have already said yes to it within. Stand firm in your identity. Live from the end, not toward it. Trust the invisible that is working tirelessly in your favor. The world is aligning, doors are unlocking, and the version of you that holds the promise of your desires is already directing your steps. Let your faith be louder than your fear. Let your imagination be stronger than your doubt. Let your certainty be the force that collapses distance and time. Your future is not waiting, it is unfolding. The shift is not coming, it is here. And every day you are stepping deeper into the life that once existed only in your dreams. Hold the feeling of fulfillment close. Celebrate your transformation even before others can see it, because soon what you know in your heart will be undeniable in your world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing. Thank you for choosing to rise into the greatest version of yourself. The best of your life is not ahead of you, it is already within you. And now it is coming into view. Thank you. There is a stirring inside you right now. You can feel it, a sensation that life is shifting, moving, rising. Something big and beautiful is on its way into your reality, and your only task is to stay ready for it. Uh, every desire you carry is not random. You did not imagine greatness by mistake. What you want is already yours in the invisible. There is a version of you who already has the life you dream of, the success, the love, the breakthroughs, the abundance, and that version of you is calling, pulling you forward, reminding you that destiny is not somewhere you go, it's something you awaken to. The greatest secret you must never forget is this: what you assume to be true eventually becomes true. When you walk, speak, and think as though your blessing is guaranteed, you summon it closer. When you prepare for what you've asked for, you declare yourself worthy of receiving it. So ask yourself, are you thinking like the person who already received the miracle? Are you preparing your life for the arrival of what you prayed for? Are you behaving like someone who knows the blessing isn't coming? It's here. To stay ready is to live from the end. It is to celebrate the harvest even while the seeds are still underground. It is to decorate the room before the guest arrives, because you know the knock on the door is certain. Feel the fulfillment now. Feel the joy in advance. The feeling is the magnet, and it is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Your breakthrough is already moving. The path is being cleared. People you've never met are waking up today with a desire to bless you. Doors that were locked are weakening. Delays are dissolving. Circumstances are turning in your favor in ways you cannot yet comprehend. This is not wishful thinking. This is alignment. This is not hoping. This is knowing. Gratitude is your access point. The more thankful you become for what is and what is coming, the faster your blessing rushes toward you. Appreciation tells the universe, I am ready, I am expecting, I am prepared. So live like the miracle is inevitable, because it is. Walk like the breakthrough is guaranteed, because it is. Dream like the manifestation has begun, because it has. Something big and beautiful is already on its way to you. Not next year, not someday. Now. Stay ready. Stay expectant. Stay aligned. Your destiny is not approaching, it is arriving. The life you are living right now is not a result of luck, chance, or random circumstance. It is the reflection of the ideas, beliefs, and assumptions you have accepted within yourself over time. Your inner world, the thoughts you rehearse, the emotions you nurture, the mental pictures you return to again and again, is continually shaping the world you experience on the outside. Nothing manifests in your physical reality without first being conceived in consciousness. What you entertain within eventually expresses itself without. For the unseen is the origin of all things seen. Every desire you hold is a preview of what is possible for you. When you imagine a future that excites you, that vision is not fantasy, it is permission. Your imagination is showing you what already exists in a higher dimension of self. To manifest it, you must become intimately familiar with that future before it materializes in your hands. You must walk in it, feel it, claim it, and experience it internally as though it were already yours. The world simply mirrors back the state of being you consistently embody. If you think thoughts of limitation, life will appear limited. If you expect disappointment, disappointment will find you. But if you dare to live in the feeling of fulfillment, even when the evidence has not yet arrived, you activate a powerful force that compels reality to rise to your belief. The imagination is not just a place to escape the world, it is where you design it. Every great achievement, invention, love story, or transformation began as an inner knowing long before others could see it. You cannot wait for the external world to change before changing how you feel. That is the mistake many people make. They wait for the relationship to feel loved. They wait for the money to feel secure. They wait for the success to feel worthy. But waiting keeps you stuck in the absence of what you want. Creation responds not to what you lack, but to what you assume. To receive more love, you must feel love within. To experience abundance, you must think abundantly. To live a life of joy, you must nourish joy internally first. Living from the end means choosing the state of the wish fulfilled right now. It means aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the version of you who already has the outcome. You become the one who is chosen, who is wealthy, who is celebrated long before the world acknowledges it. And because your internal shift is real and vibrant, your external life has no option but to conform. The universe always yields to the strongest assumption. Your imagination is the spiritual blueprint of your future. When you give consistent attention to what you desire instead of what you fear, you transform the direction of your life. What you accept as truth within yourself becomes the law by which your experiences unfold. Therefore, honor your imagination. Trust your inner vision. Live boldly in the reality you choose, not the one you have been conditioned to accept. The moment you claim the future inside you is the moment that future begins to materialize around you. Faith is not merely believing that something beautiful can happen. It is living as though it already has. Real faith is demonstrated in preparation. When you prepare for what you desire, before any sign has appeared, you declare to the universe that you are confident in its arrival. You don't wait for the miracle to show up before you begin acting like someone who is blessed. You live from the certainty that the blessing is already yours, and your preparation becomes the evidence of that inner conviction. Most people think they should start preparing once they see progress, once the opportunity appears, once the result is visible. But that mindset is rooted in doubt and fear. Waiting means you are still unsure. Preparation means you know. When you take the steps ahead of time, you are essentially saying, I trust that what I desire is on its way. I am aligning my life with the outcome I expect. This alignment is not symbolic, it is creative. It generates momentum, it opens doors, it speeds up manifestation. Think of it like planting a seed. You do not wait for the first sprout before watering the soil. You do not question whether a tree will grow when you have already planted its seed. You water, you nurture, you protect it, because you understand growth is happening beneath the surface, even when you cannot see it. Your manifestations work the same way. Just because nothing appears to be happening does not mean the miracle is not in motion. Most transformation begins invisibly. Preparation is how you continue to say yes to your desire during the invisible stage. Ask yourself, if the life you prayed for arrived today, would you be ready? If the opportunity you keep asking for showed up at your door, would you have the space for it? If the relationship you dream of entered your life right now, would you be emotionally prepared to receive love? If your financial breakthrough came tomorrow, would you know what to do with it? Many people want the blessing but maintain a life that rejects it. Its preparation is how you make room. It is how you clear the path. When you prepare, you shift your identity. You stop being someone who is hoping and waiting, and you become someone who is expecting and receiving. You act like the version of yourself who has already succeeded. You make decisions from abundance instead of fear. You speak with confidence instead of uncertainty. You take steps forward instead of standing still. The universe responds to the energy of readiness. Every small act of preparation signals faith. Clean the space. Organize your finances. Practice the skill. Strengthen the habit. Dress for the position. Live as though the results are guaranteed, because they are, when you align with them fully. Miracles manifest where readiness resides. When you carry the attitude that what you desire is inevitable, life rushes to meet you in that belief. Preparation is not just a task, it is a declaration: I am ready for what I asked for. And when you remain ready, the blessing has no choice but to arrive. To presume the end is to live from the victory before the battle is ever seen. It means stepping into the energy and emotion of your desire as though it has already manifested, regardless of what your current circumstances show. When you feel the joy, peace, and fulfillment of the outcome now, you send a clear message to the universe. This is my reality. And when the universe receives that message, it begins rearranging every detail of your life to reflect the assumption you have accepted. Most people assume the opposite. They assume delay, they assume disappointment, they assume that life is hard and that what they want is far away. Without realizing it, they hold on to worry, fear, and doubt. And the universe faithfully mirrors that back. You cannot expect abundance while assuming lack. You cannot attract love while assuming rejection. You cannot experience success while assuming unworthiness. Your assumption is your frequency, and life always aligns with the frequency you choose. Assuming the end is a bold and revolutionary act. It means no longer pleading for the desire, but possessing it internally. You stop asking when will it happen, and instead you declare, it is done. You stop hoping for it and begin thanking for it. You no longer consume your energy worrying about the how. You rest in the knowing that the how will unfold naturally. The moment you shift from wanting to having in your mind, your external world begins to transform. Feeling is the fuel. It is not enough to think about the end. You must emotionally live inside it. Imagination alone is the blueprint, but emotion animates the blueprint into physical form. When you feel the joy of success in advance, the warmth of love in advance, the relief of abundance in advance, your nervous system accepts that experience as real. And once your inner state changes, your outer world must change to match it. Reality has no power except to reflect the assumptions you hold within. Ask yourself, if everything you desire were already yours, how would you speak? How would you walk? How would you treat yourself? How would you treat others? How would your thoughts shift? Begin to embody those answers now. Your new behavior is a signal of your new belief. Even if your senses tell a different story, even if nothing looks different yet, remain in the feeling of the fulfilled desire. The senses show you the past. Imagination reveals the future. Do not let the visible world convince you to abandon the miracle that is forming. Assume the end with confidence. Assume it with gratitude. Assume it with joy. Nourish the inner reality that you have chosen, and do not waver when old circumstances try to pull you backward. Transformation often happens quietly, beneath the surface, until suddenly everything is different. The moment you become the person who already has what they desire, the universe rushes to catch up. When you feel the end as your truth, life must reveal it as your experience. The world around you begins to change the moment something changes within you. Long before the breakthrough becomes visible, it announces itself through subtle inner shifts. A new thought, a sudden burst of hope, a renewed excitement, a quiet knowing that something greater is forming. These internal signs are not coincidence. They are the first evidence that your desire is coming into being. The transformation always begins in the invisible realm, and your intuition is the messenger that speaks before the manifestation appears. You may feel a new sense of peace about things that once made you anxious. You may no longer be reacting to the same triggers. You may find yourself dreaming bigger, believing deeper, thinking more powerfully. You may catch yourself smiling for no apparent reason, simply because something inside you knows the story is turning. These feelings are not illusions or temporary emotional highs. They are spiritual confirmations that your energy has shifted and that the external world must soon follow. When your mindset elevates, your life elevates. When your self-concept rises, your opportunities rise. When your expectation changes, your circumstances change. The universe cannot deny what you have already accepted within. So, when you start to notice that your thoughts are becoming more aligned, your confidence is strengthening, and your heart is opening again, recognize that these are signs of progress, not random moments. Often we become impatient when we cannot yet see physical results. We ask why nothing is happening, why nothing looks different. But the truth is that the most crucial work is done outside of you. A seed is transforming long before it breaks through the soil. A butterfly is forming long before its wings are seen. Likewise, your life is being rearranged long before you witness the breakthrough with your eyes. The shift you feel is the announcement that change is underway. Pay attention to the synchronicities, the right people showing up, the right message arriving at the perfect time, the opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere. Notice how obstacles start to dissolve or no longer intimidate you. Notice how your standards rise, how you no longer settle, how you feel drawn to environments that uplift rather than drain you. These are not small things. They are the universe guiding you into alignment with the new reality you've chosen. Trust the signs, trust the timing, trust your inner knowing. When you feel an irreversible shift in your spirit, when you know deep in your bones that something good is coming, that knowing is the first stage of the miracle. Do not dismiss it. Celebrate it. Your breakthrough isn't just near, It has already begun. The shift you feel within is the proof that creation is unfolding on your behalf. Stay open, stay grateful, stay ready. What has started within you will soon manifest around you in ways that exceed your imagination. Your greatest desires are not accidents. They are not fantasies randomly placed in your mind. They are divine promises, glimpses of a future that already exists for you in a higher realm of possibility. The moment a dream is given to you, it comes with the provision for its fulfillment. You were shown the vision because you are meant to walk in it. If it were not yours, you would not feel such a deep connection to it. Desire is not a sign of lack, it is a sign of destiny. Every dream is a calling. It calls you to expand, to rise, to become the version of yourself who can live that reality effortlessly. The desire itself is proof that the blessing is already prepared. It is not asking you to create something from nothing. It is asking you to reveal what is already written for you. When you feel a longing in your heart, that longing is life saying, "This is your path. This is your future. This is what belongs to you." You are not chasing anything. You are remembering what is already yours. Too often, people doubt their dreams because they seem too big. They question whether they are worthy enough, capable enough, or lucky enough. They try to shrink their desires to match their current circumstances. But your dreams are not meant to fit where you are. They are designed to lead you where you are destined to go. You are not given a desire to taunt you. You are given a desire to transform you. Let go of the idea that you must earn your dream. You are not trying to convince the universe to bless you. You are learning to accept the blessing that has always been yours. Your role is not to struggle or worry about how it will happen. Your role is to believe, to align, to prepare, to step into the identity of the person who already possesses the desire. The path unfolds the moment you say yes internally. Think about the things that excite you, inspire you, and call your spirit forward. The career that lights you up, the love that feels like home, the success that feels natural in your soul. Those desires are not random preferences. They are signposts pointing you toward the life your Creator intended for you. The dream chose you as much as you chose it. Instead of asking, "Can this really happen for me?" ask, "Why else would this desire be placed in my heart, unless it is already mine?" The answer will always reassure you. Your dreams are divine promises, waiting for your agreement. Trust the desire. Honor it. Claim it as your truth. When you embrace a dream with certainty, the universe orchestrates every detail in your favor. People will appear, opportunities will open, resources will flow. The dream that once felt distant will become your daily reality. Your desire is your permission slip for greatness. If you were shown the dream, it is because you are destined to live it. All you need to do now is believe and allow what is promised to unfold. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in creation because it shifts your energy from wanting to having, from longing to receiving. When you appreciate the blessings already present in your life, you align yourself with the vibration of abundance. Gratitude tells the universe, "I see what you've done for me, and I trust what you're preparing next." That trust creates momentum. It opens the door for more blessings to flow in with ease and speed. So many people wait for their lives to change before they feel grateful. They postpone appreciation until the manifestation is complete. But gratitude is not the result of blessings. Gratitude is the cause. It is the catalyst that accelerates what you desire. When you say thank you for what hasn't yet arrived, you proclaim that it is already yours. You step into the reality of fulfillment and invite the external world to reflect that truth. Gratitude transforms your perspective. Instead of focusing on what is missing, you become aware of what is present: love, breath, opportunities, potential, guidance. The more you value what you have, the more you discover you have always been supported. The universe is constantly working on your behalf, arranging details, introducing you to people, and guiding you toward greater experiences. Gratitude helps you recognize these subtle miracles and magnifies them into greater ones. When you appreciate even the challenges, you shift from resisting life to cooperating with it. You learn that every delay carries purpose. Every struggle builds strength. Every closed door redirects you to something better. Gratitude turns frustration into faith. It transforms impatience into expectancy. It keeps your heart open when doubt tries to close it. Every day, practice feeling thankful for the desires that are making their way to you. Feel grateful for the dream you are becoming lined with. Feel grateful for the progress you cannot see yet, but can sense within. When you give thanks in advance, you anchor the future into the present moment. You bridge the invisible and the visible. Gratitude is not passive, it is creative. It changes your emotion frequency and clears the path for manifestation. A grateful mind attracts more to be grateful for. A complaining mind attracts more to complain about. Life always mirrors your dominant attitude. So choose the attitude that draws blessings instead of blocking them. Every thank you is a signal. Every moment of appreciation is an invitation. You are telling the universe, "More of this, please," and the universe responds. Right now, count the gifts that surround you: the breath in your lungs, the strength in your soul, the miracle of another day. Smile at the path you are on and the one unfolding ahead. The door has already begun to open. Gratitude will swing it wider. Appreciate what is, celebrate what's coming, and watch how quickly your life rises to meet the praise you give it. Every desire that lives in your heart is already alive in the unseen. The moment you choose to believe in the beauty of what is coming, you give permission for miracles to unfold. Stay ready, stay aligned, and stay grateful. Feel the victory now. Walk like the blessing is already yours. Trust the signs that are guiding you, and celebrate every shift within, because something big and beautiful is not just on the way, it has already begun. Your future is waiting to meet the version of you who believes. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and thank you for having the courage to expect more from your life. The best is not ahead, the best is arriving now. There comes a moment in every life when you discover that the greatest miracle you will ever hold is already in your possession. It is not a secret locked in some distant temple, nor a formula reserved for the chosen few. It is as close to you as your breath, as constant as your heartbeat, and as powerful as creation itself. Your words are magic, whether whispered softly, spoken with authority, or declared in silence within your own mind. Your words are seeds. And every seed, when planted, when watered, when believed, must bloom. You may not realize it yet, but All your life you have been speaking your reality into existence. Every phrase you repeat becomes a command. Every statement you utter becomes permission. Your world takes shape not by accident, but by the continuous echo of the words you allow to dominate your inner chamber. If you want to change your world, begin by changing your words. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because life does not respond to what you wish for or to what you beg for. Life responds to what you declare. The universe bends to the tone of your conviction. It molds itself to the picture you speak, as already done. The moment you say, I am, you are summoning creation itself. And everything that follows those two words becomes law for your reality. If you say, I am blessed, life rearranges itself to prove you right. If you say, I am unlucky, the same force will obey. The power is neutral. You give it direction. And so today I invite you to use the sacred tool you have always carried. Say this from the depth of your being. What I speak becomes. My words create my world. Say it with awareness. Say it with courage. Say it as someone who knows they are the author, not a spectator. Every great change begins with a spoken declaration. Every transformation begins with a new inner conversation. Your outer world cannot resist a word that is spoken from the feeling of its fulfillment. When you speak from the end, when you talk as though it is already yours, something opens within you and the world responds. Speak as the one who already has the thing you desire. Speak as the version of you who already lives the life you dream of. Speak as the one who knows that the unseen is more real than the seen. And watch how swiftly circumstances shift. Watch how people appear. Watch how doors open that were never meant to remain closed. For the moment you speak with faith, you activate the law that has always been waiting on you. You are not asking for permission. You are not hoping for miracles. You are commanding your world to align with your inner truth. So today, take your power back. Speak deliberately. Affirm with authority. Choose words that honor the life you wish to live. Because your words are magic. And when you speak from certainty, you can manifest anything. Your spoken word is creative power, and what you declare with conviction becomes the mold of your reality. Every word you release carries intention, vibration, and direction. It is not just sound traveling through air. It is an instruction to the unseen forces that shape your life. When you speak, you are not merely expressing thoughts. You are activating laws. You are commanding energy. You are planting seeds that will, with time and repetition, grow into the circumstances you eventually call your life. Most people underestimate the potency of their own voice. They speak casually, carelessly, and unconsciously, unaware that every phrase is a blueprint. Your speech is not separate from your destiny. It is the architect behind it. The tone in which you speak, the belief behind your words, and the emotional charge within your voice, all of these form the structure that reality must conform to. You are not hoping for a new experience. You are instructing it into existence. Words spoken with conviction have a different weight. They do not float lightly through your mind. They press into the substance of life, demanding form. When you say, I can, I will, or I am, with certainty, the world rearranges itself to support your declaration. Not because the world is obedient to you in a superficial sense, but because reality mirrors your inner state. The moment you speak with unwavering belief, you shift your self-concept, and when the self changes, everything connected to it must also change. Your spoken word becomes a mold and your life becomes its cast. If you speak of lack, the mold forms around scarcity. If you speak of abundance, it forms around prosperity. If you speak of failure, the mold shapes itself around limitation. And if you speak of victory, confidence, and possibility, the mold expands to contain greater outcomes. You cannot speak defeat and expect triumph. You cannot speak fear and expect courage. Your world cannot outgrow the container your words create. This is why the inner conversations you repeat day after day matter just as much, perhaps even more, than the words you say aloud. Your silent speech is the script of your life. Every private declaration sends a signal. Every repeated thought deepens the mold, and every emotion-infused phrase becomes law. When you understand this, you become extremely selective about the words you allow to pass through your mind and lips. When you speak with conviction, you are not describing your reality, you are generating it. You are not reacting, you are creating. This is the difference between living as a passive observer and stepping into your role as the conscious author of your life. Speak from faith, and faith becomes substance. Speak from the end result, and the end result begins to take shape. Speak as the person you desire to become, and that person will emerge. Your words are not powerless. They are creative forces, shaping what you experience next. Speak deliberately. Speak with intention. Speak from a place of knowing. For what you speak with conviction becomes the mold your future must fill. Assume the feeling behind your words, for manifestation responds to emotion, not empty phrases. Words alone, without emotional charge, are hollow shells. They make sound, but they do not create substance. True creation begins when your words are fused with feeling, when the emotion within you matches the reality you are speaking into existence. The universe does not respond to wishful thinking or mechanical affirmations spoken without belief. It responds to the frequency of your inner state, the vibration carried by your words, and the emotion that fuels them. Emotion is the engine behind manifestation. It is the magnetic field that draws your desired outcome toward you. When you assume the feeling of what you want, even if only in your imagination, you begin to live in the end. You shift your inner atmosphere to reflect the reality you are calling forth. Once your inner world changes, your outer world must follow, because the outer is only a projection of the inner. You cannot feel unworthy and expect abundance. You cannot feel afraid and expect courage. You cannot feel separate from your desire and expect it to become yours. The feeling is what bridges your current state to your future state. To assume the feeling means to step into the emotional reality of your desire as though it is already done. It is not pretending in the childish sense, but embodying in the spiritual sense. You are not acting as if you have it. You are acknowledging that within the unseen realm, it already exists, and you are aligning with that truth. When you speak your affirmations from this place, your words carry power. They are no longer empty repetitions. They are declarations backed by the energy of fulfillment. This is why some people repeat affirmations for months and see nothing change. Their words are filled with doubt, fear, or longing. They speak from lack rather than from possession. Manifestation is not activated by the number of times you repeat a phrase, but by the emotional state you inhabit while saying it. One sentence, spoken from true conviction, backed by genuine feeling, carries more creative power than 1,000 repeated without heart. Emotion is also the language of the subconscious mind, the part of you that actually manifests your reality. The subconscious does not respond to logic or reasoning, it responds to feeling. When you assume the emotional state of your desire, you impress that state upon your subconscious, and once impressed, it begins to rearrange your life to match it. This is why you must feel it real before it becomes real. Emotion writes a script of your future, and words fueled by emotion bring that script to life. So speak, but do not speak mechanically. Speak from the end. Speak with the emotional certainty of someone who knows their desire is already theirs. Let your words carry the vibration of gratitude, relief, joy, or confidence. Whatever emotion aligns with the fulfillment of your wish, feel that emotion in your chest, let it rise through your voice, and let it saturate your inner world. For manifestation does not respond to empty phrases, it responds to the feeling behind them, the feeling that says, "This is already mine." Speak from the end, not toward it. Declare what already is, not what you hope will be. This is one of the most profound principles of manifestation, and yet it is the least understood. Most people speak from desire, not fulfillment. They speak from longing, not completion. They speak from a place of I wish, I want, or I hope, forgetting that these states only reinforce the absence of what they seek. When you speak from desire, you confirm that you do not yet possess the thing you want. But when you speak from the end, you claim it as already yours. And creation responds to that certainty. Speaking from the end means adopting the identity, tone, confidence, and emotional state of the version of you who already has the outcome. It means assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and letting that state dictate your words. You are not asking for something to come, you are affirming that it has already arrived. This shift from future tense to present reality is the difference between hope and creation. Hope waits, creation assumes. When you speak from the end, you collapse the distance between where you stand and where you want to be. You stop chasing your desire and begin embodying it. You move from seeking to being, from longing to living. Every word you speak from this perspective carries the vibration of completion. The universe operates on vibration, not phrasing, and it reflects what you are, not what you wish to be. When your inner speech announces it is done, life mirrors that state. Speaking toward the end is rooted in separation. You say things like, "One day I will succeed," "Soon my life will improve," or "Hopefully things will work out." Even if these statements seem positive, they keep your desire at arm's length. You are always looking forward, never standing in the fulfillment. You are mentally placing your manifestation in a distant future, and the future never arrives. Each time you affirm hope instead of completion, you unknowingly delay the result. But when you shift to speaking from the end, everything changes. You begin to speak as the successful version of yourself, the healed version, the blessed version, the abundant version. Your words take on authority, your tone carries certainty. You no longer describe your life from the viewpoint of someone who lacks, you describe it from the viewpoint of someone who has already received. This inner shift is powerful because the subconscious mind accepts whatever you assume as true. When you speak from the end, you impress this truth upon your subconscious, and it begins orchestrating your circumstances to match your inner declaration. This is why statements like, I am, it is done, and everything I desire is already mine, are far more powerful than I will or I hope. The present tense creates, the future tense postpones. You must speak as the creator, not the seeker. To speak from the end is to trust that the unseen is more real than the visible. It is to walk through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their desire is already secure. It is to align your words with your fulfilled state and live from the reality of completion. When you speak from the end, you declare what already is, and creation has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. Your inner conversation is your true script, and the unseen dialogue you entertain becomes the force that shapes your seen world. Long before anything appears in your outer experience, it first takes root in the quiet chambers of your mind. Every day you hold conversations that no one hears but you. You replay old stories, imagine new situations, argue, justify, fear, hope, and anticipate, all within the invisible space of thought. These silent dialogues are not meaningless mental noise. They are the blueprint of your future. The world you walk through is only a reflection of the world you have been speaking within yourself. The space between your people often focus on their spoken words, yet it is the unspoken ones, the constant self-talk, assumptions, and inner narratives that create the strongest impressions. The outer world is simply an echo of your inner world. If your inner conversation is filled with doubt, insecurity, and defeat, then your outer experience will mirror those states. If your inner dialogue is confident, peaceful, and aligned with your desire, then life will rise to meet that mindset. The unseen becomes the seen. Your mind is never silent. Even when your mouth is closed, you are speaking to yourself. And because your subconscious responds more to internal dialogue than external words, what you repeatedly say within becomes your identity. You may try to speak positively aloud, but if your silent conversations contradict your spoken affirmations, the inner story wins every time. The subconscious accepts the most consistent voice, not the loudest. This is why changing your life requires changing the way you speak to yourself. You must pay attention to the script running in your mind. Are you mentally doubting your abilities? Are you imagining negative outcomes? Are you arguing for your limitations? Are you secretly preparing for disappointment? Every repeated inner conversation is a claim. Every assumption you rehearse is a seed planted. Your subconscious mind hears it all and shapes your world accordingly. But the good news is that the inner script is yours to rewrite. You are not bound to the old story unless you keep repeating it. You can begin at any moment to craft new conversations that align with your desired reality. Instead of imagining conflict, imagine harmony. Instead of expecting loss, expect gain. Instead of replaying failure, rehearse success. These mental dialogues, though invisible, carry creative power. They impress the subconscious with new patterns that eventually express themselves in the outer world. The inner conversation is also where you practice being the version of yourself you want to become. If you want confidence, speak to yourself as the confident version. If you want abundance, let your inner voice reflect the mindset of someone who is already provided for. If you want love, speak inwardly as someone already cherished. You cannot become someone new while repeating the inner script of your old self. Life will always present a reflection of your dominant inner dialogue. The world responds to the story you consistently tell yourself, not the story you tell others. When you make your inner conversations align with your desires, the outer world shifts to match them. The unseen dialogue becomes the seen reality, and your inner script becomes the stage on which your life unfolds. Words repeated with faith shift your self-concept, and your self-concept determines what you manifest. Everything you experience in life flows from who you believe yourself to be. Your self-concept is the silent foundation beneath every action, every reaction, every decision, and every expectation. You cannot consistently think, speak, or live in a way that contradicts the identity you hold in your deepest mind. If you see yourself as limited, life will reflect limitation. If you see yourself as powerful, life will mirror that power. The external world bends to the internal image you carry. This is why repetition, especially repetition of words spoken with faith, becomes such a potent tool of transformation. When you repeat words with conviction, not mechanical habit, but genuine belief, you begin to overwrite old mental programs. You dissolve old identities that no longer serve you. You plant new assumptions that begin to express themselves as changes in personality, behavior, and destiny. Words become seeds, and when you plant them consistently with faith, they grow into the self you desire to embody. Faith is the key. Words without faith bounce off the surface of the mind. They do not penetrate, they do not root, they do not transform. But words repeated with feeling, with certainty, with the quiet knowing that what you say is true, these words reach the subconscious. They travel deep into the fertile soil where identity is formed, and they begin to reprogram the way you see yourself. When your self-concept changes, everything else must change with it. Most people try to shift their lives by changing outer conditions, unaware that their inner identity will always recreate the same patterns. You can change jobs, relationships, environments, and habits, but if you still carry the same self-concept, you will eventually repeat the same experiences. Change must begin from within. You must become the person who naturally manifests what you desire before the desire can show up. Words repeated with faith help you do exactly that. They reshape your concept of I. When you say, I am worthy, with true belief, your subconscious begins to align your actions and circumstances with worthiness. When you say, I am abundant, your mind shifts to the identity of someone who expects and attracts abundance. When you say, I am chosen, successful, loved, or favored, and you speak these words with faith, you are not merely affirming, you are redefining yourself. And reality can only reflect the identity you assume. Self-concept is destiny. You cannot manifest anything inconsistent with the person you believe yourself to be. This is why inner work is more powerful than outer effort. When you shift your self-concept, manifestations that once seem impossible become natural, effortless, and automatic. You no longer fight for change, you become the change. You no longer chase blessings, you become the version of yourself that naturally receives them. Your words, when infused with faith, are the tools that carve your new identity. Speak them consistently. Speak them confidently. Speak them until they are no longer affirmations, but truths. Truths you feel, truths you live, truths you embody, for your self-concept determines what you manifest, and your words, spoken with faith, determine your self-concept. What you say about yourself becomes law in your world, and this is why you must affirm consciously, not carelessly. Every statement you make about yourself, whether spoken aloud or whispered in the privacy of your mind, creates a decree that shapes the conditions of your life. You are always declaring something. The only question is whether you are doing it deliberately or unconsciously. When your words are careless, your life becomes a series of unintended outcomes. But when your words are conscious and intentional, your life becomes a reflection of your deepest truth. Your identity is built upon the sentences you repeat. If you habitually say, "I'm unlucky, I never get opportunities, nothing works out for me," or "I always struggle," you are not simply describing your life, you are commanding it. The subconscious mind accepts whatever you confidently state about yourself. It does not argue, it does not evaluate, it does not question, it simply obeys. And once it accepts something as true, it begins to organize your experiences around that truth. You become the living expression of the story you repeat. This is why it is dangerous to speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. The subconscious mind does not understand humor, sarcasm, or exaggeration. It registers the words, absorbs the meaning, and shapes your identity accordingly. When you say, "I'm so stupid," "I'm always broke," "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," you are unknowingly giving your subconscious the very blueprint of limitation. Your life then bends itself around those limitations, reinforcing the very things you wish to escape. But the moment you begin to speak consciously, intentionally choosing words that align with your highest self, you reclaim your power. Conscious affirmation is not about pretending or lying to yourself. It is about choosing the version of yourself you wish to embody and repeatedly speaking it into existence until your subconscious accepts it as fact. When you say, "I am capable, I am worthy, I am favored, I am powerful, I am abundant," you plant seeds of identity that grow into the reality you desire. These words become the new laws of your world. They shape your decisions, influence your expectations, attract new circumstances, and shift your emotional state. A person who affirms worthiness makes different choices than a person who affirms lack. A person who declares abundance attracts different opportunities than someone who declares struggle. A person who speaks from confidence experiences a different world than one who speaks from fear. Affirmation is not merely positive thinking, it is identity formation. You are deciding who you are. And once you decide, everything in your reality rearranges itself to match that identity. This is why conscious affirmation is one of the most powerful tools of transformation. It overrides old programming and constructs a new internal framework that your outer world must eventually reflect. To affirm consciously means to speak with awareness, intention, and conviction. It means choosing your words as carefully as you would choose the blueprint of a house you plan to build. You would never allow an architect to scribble random shapes and call it a plan. Yet many people allow random thoughts, careless words, and emotional reactions to serve as the blueprint of their lives. Your words are law. They set the standard for what you allow, what you expect, and what you receive. Speak with purpose. Speak with authority. Speak with the awareness that every sentence shapes the world you step into next. Affirm consciously, for your words determine your destiny. Everything returns to one simple truth. You are the creator of your reality, and your words are the tools of creation. Your speech is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between imagination and manifestation. When you speak with intention, emotion, and conviction, you breathe life into the unseen. You shape the very fabric of your experience. Your words become the law your world must obey. They mold your self-concept, command your circumstances, and summon the life you desire. So speak not from fear, but from faith. not from longing but from fulfillment, not from weakness but from the power that already lives within you. Choose every word as though it were a seed of destiny, because it is. Let your inner conversation match the life you wish to live. Let your affirmations rise from certainty, and let your voice declare what is already yours in the unseen. When you speak from your highest self, life listens. When you speak from the end, creation responds. When you speak with conviction, your world transforms. Your words are magic. Use them wisely, boldly, and consciously. Thank you. Thank you for listening, for opening your heart, and for choosing to step into the power that has always been within you. May your words shape miracles. May your voice create new beginnings. And may you walk forward knowing that everything you speak with faith is already on its way to you. Thank you.